Can't get any words. Podcast on blast, giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse Podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse Podcast. Happy Tuesday. I hope we're all kicking off the week on a win. This week has been pretty insane for me personally, and we're going to rip into it in this episode. So kick off the pod just by saying thanks for all the love and support lately. Literally over the last 2 or 3 weeks, feels like the podcast has jumped up that next little tier, you know what I mean? And nothing crazy. We're not breaking any records here or anything like that. Like we're sort of at the point where still I think like each of you could reach out to me and we could have like a friendly banter relationship, you know what I mean? Like a personal level relationship. And the people that have followed on Instagram and shit like that over the last few weeks and said they're going to jump on and listen, it seems that you've lived by your words. And welcome aboard. Thank you for coming across and adding this to your weekly, what's it called? Like weekly schedule or weekly, I don't fucking know. You guys know me. I'm not the brains behind the operation. Unfortunately, I am. Unfortunately for you guys, I am the brains behind the operation. And that's why we get a subpar podcast with a camera that works every second week and a roadcaster that has broken headphone jacks. So I'm pretty sure we touched on that last week, but shout out to Rode. If you want to send me any free shit, hit me up. I'll give you my address. But yeah, I think I say this every time I put myself in the fire, but 2 podcasts in 1 week is a lot of work. It is, and again, don't get me wrong, that is the work that I want to be doing, like lugging pantries and stuff up 3 flights of stairs for my day job. Definitely not appealing. So if I had to record 6 podcasts in 1 day instead of doing that, let's fucking go. I'm all for it. But yeah, it's just so like the editing and the clipping and all that sort of shit just to get it out by the time frames that I've sort of set myself. And we got there. We got there in the end. I got it all out on time. The only thing I did fuck up, sorry to any YouTube listeners, and I think the YouTube video did take a bit of a hit, the UFC breakdown one, compared to the first one that I did. We got pretty much fuck all views on that, which was, it's okay. Like, it doesn't bother me. The UFC breakdown isn't for everyone. And B, we don't really get crazy numbers on YouTube anyway. Like I've said before, most of the downloads are on audio. I know all the podcasts I listen to are strictly audio. I don't remember the last time I watched a video podcast, but it is what it is. And yeah, it's pretty funny. Like I posted it. I woke up in the middle of the night, like 1 o'clock, because I recorded it on the Monday, like I told you guys. And then Wednesday night or Thursday morning, right? The day it was supposed to drop. So it's supposed to drop 3 a.m. Thursday morning. It's just the time that I set myself for no real reason. And 1 o'clock on Thursday morning, launch out of bed, I go, fuck. I was meant to set myself a little reminder that I need to drop that into YouTube on Wednesday night before I go to bed so that when I wake up, it's uploaded and ready to go, and I forgot to do it. So it ended up coming out at like 7 a.m. or something. So I highly doubt that had anything to do with it, but yeah, shout out to anyone that did go and listen to it. Had one bloke. This was actually quite a nice interaction with a troll, right? And hello if you're listening to this. Thank you very much. It gave me a bit of a giggle during the week, but the first dude that watched it, right? We got to like lunchtime Thursday and no one had watched it on YouTube. And one bloke had watched it and I could see that he watched the whole thing because YouTube shows me that in the back end of things. And he just commented on the video. He goes, "Am I seriously your only viewer?" And I was like, I just replied, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm an absolute nobody. Thank you very much for watching. It means the world." And he goes, "Fuck, I've just thrown you a follow. I'm going to start listening to the pod." I'm like, thank you very much. But yeah, thanks to anyone that did listen. Again, we matched the standard Tuesday episode to the UFC breakdown downloads. So I appreciate it. I don't know if you guys are even into the UFC or whether you're literally just jumping on and supporting me and hitting the download button and skipping forward, just hitting that 10-second skip every 10 seconds just to drown out all the fight goss. But I will do a bit of a UFC 311 recap at the end of this, just because it's not really worth doing its whole own episode. Like, it's going to take me 5 minutes to shoot through most of the card and all the big shit that happened. So, but yeah, big week again with the meetings and shit like that, trying to set up a couple of extra comedy rooms. And I said this to Nikita this week. Had another, not like a crazy fucking breakdown or anything like that. So hold your letters and your DMs. Everything's A-okay. But it was just like the last probably what are we in? We're in the second or third week of January. Probably like the last week of December is when I really started trying to get into the hustle again and like chase rooms and things like that. So it's been a solid sort of 3 to 4 weeks of just emails, phone calls, meetings, all that sort of shit. And again, I'm not mad at it. It's what I want to do. So don't fucking, it's worth it. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to have a sook or anything like that. So calm down. But I just said to Nikita last week, I'm like, fuck, just like doing this back end side of shit, like to run rooms, which I've said this before, isn't my ideal. It's not really the end destination. You know what I mean? It's a stepping stone to A, get some money in the bank from comedy, and B, let's throw it out there. Let's put it out there. This is a bit of manifestation. When I do eventually make it as a working touring comedian, I want to know how the back end of things work. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was big when I started my cabinet making business, is I was always interested. Like, I'd always hit up the boss. Oh, how'd you quote that? Or how'd you get to that number? Why'd you do things this way? Like, I was always just curious in the back end of the business thing. And I think that's what helped me when I ran my business, is I sort of got a little bit from each of my bosses and just combined it all. And I'm like, okay, sweet. That's sort of how I want to run things. So I think that's going to help in the long run. Like, hopefully when I'm starting to sell out like function rooms and hopefully theaters and shit like that on the back of my own name, I know, like, if the venue's trying to pull the wool over my eyes or whatever, I'm going to sort of know market costs on everything. And I'm also going to, like, kit myself out on all my equipment and stuff. Like, I've already started that literally behind the camera right there. We've got mics and speakers and fucking everything ready to go out there and start some regional tours. Hopefully I'm going to aim mid this year. I'm going to go on my first little solo tour. Again, putting that out there, but that's the aim. I'm hoping, like I said, have the first draft of the show ready for March, my birthday, and then tighten it up, make it better from there, and just get ready to pound it. And yeah, just do a few weekend trips away out to some regional towns and things like that, because like those crowds, I know my first trip out there was a bit rough, which we spoke about on the pod, but those people out there, they're just so happy that you just come out and just give them something. So I feel like it's probably a good place to go and work out a show before you go hitting like Sydney and Melbourne and all the big places. But yeah, that's where that's all at. But I don't even know if I got to fucking what I was trying to say with all that. But doing all that back end, like grinding sort of stuff, it sort of took the fun out of the comedy aspect side of things, like if that makes sense, because literally every hour that I've had to spend putting into comedy and even podcasting, I suppose, like last week was a prime example. I said on the UFC breakdown that I was coming into this with much less research and stuff from the first one that I did, which was heavily based on the card. I'm not going to lie, but also I just did not have the time to sit down and do the detailed breakdown I did on the first one. But that'll be back for UFC 312. I guarantee it. We're gonna pick some fucking underdogs on that card. I'm telling you now. But yeah, just took a bit of the fun out of it, and I think that heavily reflected on the first few gigs that I've done this year. Like I said last week, the gigs I didn't exactly crush any gigs. Just sort of bombed it. Actually, no, both last weeks were a bomb, weren't they? So that's going to reflect heavily in my week in comedy coming up, if you're staying tuned for that one. But I won't blow the lid on that just yet. But yeah, I I took a little drive out to the Orion Hotel, which we've got on the 7th of February, which sold out already. I'm sorry, guys, but it's pretty cool because the manager that runs that, they actually have like 6 or 8 other venues under their umbrella, and they've already pitched like another couple of their other venues. They're like, oh, can you do a show here? They've showed me, and they're like unreal venues. So stoked with that. We've got another one lined up for mid-March, I think it is, but won't blow the lid on where that one is just yet, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool venue. Stoked with that one. So took a trip out to the Orion Hotel, sussed out all the details for that show, and it's going to be a cracking show. The function room out there is perfect for comedy. Literally perfect. So sussed out the seating arrangement, staging, lighting, all that sort of stuff. So whoever's coming to that show, if any of you listeners did grab some tickets to that one, it's going to be unreal. Sick lineup for that one as well. I think we've got like 7 or 8 comedians jumping up on that, as well as me emceeing that one. But the story off the back of that one, I got in the car and I was running late for this meeting, and I'm like, fuck. My fuel gauge was like between quarter and empty, and I'm like, all right, I'll get there, and then I'll find a petrol station once I'm done, and go to the meeting, have a sick meeting, get back in my car, see my fuel light on. I'm like, fuck, I forgot about that. So I'm like, I'll just start driving towards the highway, and I'll pass a service station. Makes sense, right? You see them everywhere. Jump in my car, start driving. This is the on-ramp to the highway. If I take this on-ramp, I probably don't have another chance for a service station until I get off when I'm back down towards Logan. And don't get me wrong, I understand that there's service stations if you take an exit and go like a kilometre or something, but I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? It was my Tuesday night. It was already like 8 o'clock or something. So I was like, all right, I've not run the gauntlet in this ute yet. Let's see how far we can push this bad boy. So I've started driving, and we touched the red line a lot quicker than I was hoping to. I called Nikita. I'm like, you're going to have to come and get me on the old Logan motorway here. I'm about to run out of fuel. And she goes, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm like, yes, there is no arguing. I am a fucking idiot. I think we all acknowledge it and accept it. But I was pushing it, and then I could see my exit coming up, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to make it. And I don't know why, but in my head, I was like, oh, as soon as I hit the exit, there's going to be a service station right there. I forgot that I was going to have to travel like 5 kilometers further to get to the petrol station. So I was like, I was shitting myself. And at this stage, by the time I took the off ramp, it was under the red line. Like it was running on fumes. And I've kept driving, and literally, I reckon we were seconds away from running out of fuel. Just swing into the servo. And this is the main recap from this. It was the sketchiest shit I've been in a long time. Now, no hate on Logan, but it can be a bit of a sketchy place sometimes, I think we'll all admit. And ex-co-host of the show, Ash Epstein. Go give him a follow, everyone. Throwing out some amazing content out there at the moment. A lot of conspiracy gear, a lot of healthy eating gear. So if you're into that stuff, go give him a follow. He looks a lot like Ellen DeGeneres if she was a woman. So yeah, that's my recap on Ash. And I've pulled into a service station near where his old house used to be, a Caltex in Waterford. And like I said, it was about 8:30, and it was pretty quiet. Right? And as I swung in the servo, I've started to assess the lurkers and things like that were going on in the car park. And I'm like, oh no, this is not going to be fun. Now, as I've swung into the driveway, I've had to dodge what can only be described as an unhoused man, right? Big beard, long hair, just all his clothes hadn't been washed in however long, and throwing no shade. I know it's fucking rough times out there for everyone, and yeah, it is what it is. But you know those type of people that give that look. Like he was looking into my car as if to say, what you got in there, big boy? What can I come and help myself to? Now, as I've dodged him, I've realised he's got a bit of a limp on, right? He's limping, and then I look at his wrist. Like this is my like autistic ADHD brain just assessing every situation to the max. I've looked at his wrist. He's got a hospital band on, and the foot he's limping on is all. It was originally bandaged up, and now he's got like a meter of bandage just dragging along behind him. So it's slowly becoming unwrapped. And I pull into my petrol bowser. I start filling up, and I'm like, fuck. I look over in the other corner, and there's just a car with just a bloke sitting in it, just staring at the, like, he's reversed into the car park, and he's just staring at what's going on at the servo. He didn't move from his car the entire time I was there. So I don't know if he was like waiting for some late night action or something. I should have gone and knocked actually and just been like, hey, hey buddy, you looking to get your dick sucked or something? Because I just had a pretty crazy meeting. I'm pretty down for anything. But I didn't. I should have sent the unhoused man to go and do that. But yeah, I don't know what his deal was. But anyway, I'm filling up, and now this unhoused dude is behind my car, and I'm like, what is going on right now? Am I about to fight for my life, or what is going on? And it's filling up, and he's just standing there, and I'm like, do I say hey, or do I acknowledge the situation, or do I just pretend I don't see him, even though there's a man standing right behind my car? I've got a clear view of him. And I decide to ignore him, and he sort of starts to step closer and, again, didn't do anything. So I've put my petrol cap back on, and then I've went in to pay, and he's sort of followed me in, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is this dude's, what is he doing? And he's just followed me in, and I'm like, maybe he's waiting for me to offer to buy him like a pie and a water or something. And in hindsight, like when I got back in the car, I'm like, fuck, I should have done that. I should have bought him something to eat. Like he was probably just hungry, but I don't know. Something about being in this situation that late at night just gave me this eerie feeling, like something wasn't right. And as I've walked out from paying, there's been this ute that has just roared into the driveway. And I'm like, fuck, what is going on here? And it's just 4 guys wedged in a single cab Hilux ute, like a 90s Hilux ute. And they just look sus, like they're up to something. And I'm like, fuck, these guys are about to rob this servo. Do I stop it? What do I do? And I got in my car. I'm like, this is enough. This is enough Waterford for me for today. I need to get back to the safe hill that is. I was about to disclose my suburb. I probably have on here 1,000 times, but I'm not gonna blow that cover today. But yeah, pretty stressful just being surrounded by homeless and crackheads. And we've got a bit of an update coming up. I'm not gonna lie, but I'll save that to the end because you guys are gonna want to stay tuned for that one. It's a cracking story. But I took the where was it? I took the kids somewhere, and we were just chilling. It might have been a park or something. I honestly don't remember. And we're just chilling, and this bloke comes up to me, and he just starts having a regular conversation to me. And I think he was, yeah, that's right. Okay. I think it was to do with my ute, and he was like looking at the solar panel and shit I got on top. And I haven't done anything to my ute, right? It is how I bought it. And he's going, oh, I sort of want something like that. How much does that setup cost? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, mate. I bought it like that. And we ended up, and then it just got into a typical like dad conversation at the park. And we just got like sidetracked. We chatted for a couple of minutes, and then we hit that awkward stage where we had nothing left to say to each other. So we just left the conversation, right? We get home. Nikita gets home from work later that day, and the boys go, oh, Dad made a friend at the park today. And Nikita's going, oh, has he? And Westy goes, yeah, they spoke for ages. And then I was like, I tried to insinuate. I go, yeah, she was a pretty good chat. And Nikita's going, oh, was she? And Westy goes, it was a dude, Dad. You were talking to a dude. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to make your mum think that I'm irresistible out in public. So Westy blew my cover on that one, but I thought it was pretty funny that I was trying to play off that I was a bit of a player at the local park, you know what I mean? The dad that everyone wanted, but yeah, it didn't quite pan out that way. But another funny thing, I picked the kids up from school the other day, last week, and I don't know how or why this even did it, but we're at traffic lights, and I've thrown the ute in first gear, and I must have just popped the clutch too early, and I've just done like a little chirp, you know, like nothing crazy, and the kids it was like I just crushed at a comedy gig. I got a standing ovation from the back seat. They were like, "Oh my God, Dad just did a skid." And I was like, "Okay, if you want to call it that." And Westy's like, "Oh, it's crazy. Is there any smoke?" And he's like hanging out his window, like looking. I'm like, "Dude, I just chirped the wheels a little bit." But in their heads, I was in the cast of Tokyo Drift that day. I was like, "Okay, I guess it's me. I guess I'm the man. I'm the sickest drifter in Logan." You know what I mean? And it just stuck in my head for a couple of days. And a couple of days later, I was driving to work, and there's like a roundabout near my work, and there were these two dudes in this ute in front of me. They're on their P's, and they were just typical bogan, high vis, snapback hats, blowing vapes out their windows, just living their best life at that age. Like, yeah. Anyway, they've gone to go into the roundabout, and same thing. They've just dropped the clutch and done a more impressive skid than what I did. And I followed them into the roundabout, and they're just high-fiving each other, and they're like banging their dash. They thought it was the sickest time of their life. And I'm like, oh, it would be so good to be that young again and just be like, fuck, skids are cool. Skids are so sick, man. Like, skids are so good. And don't get me wrong, like if I'm on Instagram and I see someone like Troy Candy or someone ripping a mad skid, I'm like, fuck, skids are cool. Like, it digs into your inner little boy, you know what I mean? And that is a terrible statement to say. That is a terrible statement to say on the podcast. I definitely do not want to dig into any inner little boys. That was a wrong turn of phrase, and I apologize for that. We've just got Bill Cosby off the podcast. I cannot stand another what's the word where you get in trouble? Like not cancellation. Like, I didn't get cancelled. I don't know. Let's move on. What else has happened? Speaking on the automotive side of things. So Mum and Dad went up to my Nan's house on Saturday or something. So I didn't know this. Okay. She's I don't even know how old she is, right? But she's in like a retirement village or whatever you want to call it. And she got an electric wheelchair, sort of scootery looking thing. And apparently you need a license for it, which blew my mind. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, you can ride an electric scooter on the footpath and stuff and not need a license. You can, I don't know. I've even seen like some weird go-karts and like electric bikes and shit cruising around, and you can just ride them. So why can't these old people that can't move, why do they have to go and like sit a driver's test for this thing? Anyway, apparently she like failed the test twice or something. So maybe that is why you need a license. So Mum and Dad went and picked it up to bring it back to their place, so it's just out of the way or whatever. And as I've swung in the driveway on Saturday, I've seen it just sitting. It was almost back to Tokyo Drift. It was almost like they lifted the roller door and it was just sitting there, and it just had my name on it. It was like that scene in Tokyo Drift where the roller door comes up and it's like, what's that song where it's like, my life be like, ooh, ooh. It was like that, all right? And that was a perfect rendition of that song. I know you guys are thinking it, so I'll just go out there and say it. But yeah, straight away I've jumped out of the car, I've jumped straight on this thing, and holy fuck, if this is not the funnest thing that I've ridden in a long time, go and apologise to Barry. That was a gay joke. That was insinuating that I rode a bloke named Barry. I didn't. Okay, happily married, 2 kids, perfectly straight over here. Unless you get a couple of fruit tingles under my belt, am I right, fellas? Anyway, stop. Shut the fuck up, James. Stop trying to go for the corny joke, okay? Thank you for saying that. Voice of Adrian on my shoulder. But yeah, this thing is fucking sick. And then the boys jumped on with me. We're doing circle works, and then I start trying to like maneuver around stuff at Mum's house. So I don't know. It kind of made me excited to get old and just cruise around in this thing. I teed up with Westy. I'm like, fuck, you start school again next week. What if you cruise up to school in this thing and you just tell everyone you had a fall, and then we do this like Jesus healing him because he goes to like a religious school, and I'm like, you could cruise up in this, roll in. I'd go, oh, I've had an accident over the holidays. I can't walk again. And then I'll place my hand on your head and I'll be like, heal. And then he can step out of the wheelchair and everyone will be like, oh my God, it is him. He has risen. Much like that dude that healed my knee on that job site. go back and check out an old podcast if you have not heard that. But I actually got in a bit of a rabbit hole last night when I won't blow the lid on it, but somebody tagged me in a reel that they posted, and I went back into my tagged reels that I was on. And when I first started the podcast, like up until episode 12 or something, I was tagging my personal account in it just to try and build some traction. And fuck me, I was just watching all the old reels that we used to put together when it was just me, Ash, and Adrian, and we'd just get like rotating guests and stuff like that. And it just made me laugh so hard. And I still to this day, I reckon if we somehow had the traction or whatever, or like knew what we were doing when we first started, I think the three of us could have had a fucking crazy podcast. And that's about as gay and sappy as I'm going to get on that. So let's go back to saying fuck you, Adrian and Ash. But thank you, Adrian, for fixing the Roadcaster. For fixing the Roadcaster again last week. So we had some more issues. I had to take it into IT expert Adrian. Get this right. So my office at work is situated away from everyone else, right? I got my own little private office. I love it. Got my own space. And I took the Roadcaster into work for Adrian to fix. I thought he was going to take it home and tinker with it and stuff. But he ended up having some time in the middle of the day. So he's coming over to my office and set it up in this like, there's like a tall pantry style cupboard, I suppose you'd say, with some roller doors on it, like sliding doors. And he set the Roadcaster up in there. He started playing with it. And then he's like, oh, fuck, I've got to go back to work or something. So he's left the Roadcaster inside this cupboard, all lit up, all the shiny buttons and stuff are flashing, and he's just slid the door shut. Anyway, my boss has come in. He's had a chat to me for a bit. And then he walks into the room where the Roadcaster's all set up. I'm like, fuck, he never walks in there. I'm like, he never walks in there. Well, I wonder what he's doing in there. He's plodding around in there doing bits and pieces. And then I hear a door slide, and I'm like, oh my God, he's just found the Roadcaster. He's going to think I'm sitting down here recording podcasts on his time. So yeah, he didn't acknowledge it or anything. So still to this moment, I don't know if he actually saw it, but pretty sus shit to be doing at your workplace. But let's rip into the big news of the week, right? And I've told a couple of people have hit me up, and I've gone, wait to the podcast. Take a sip, ready to get into this. Now, it has been heavily spoken about on the podcast, right, that we have a homelessness problem behind our house for the last probably 3 months, I'd say. And I think that's probably a fair timeline to anyone that's been listening to the podcast frequently. But yeah, we've had 2 people living behind our house. We recently found out just before Christmas that one of them is a wanted man for some pretty aggressive charges. And then we started to ramp up. We go, well, okay, well, what are you going to do to get him out of there? And it's been a pretty slow process to get anyone to do anything, from the council to the police, things like that. And it just seemed every step of the way, it was too hard for everyone, right? Anyway, Thursday last week, I'm at work. I get a camera notification. This bloke's in my fucking yard again. And I'm like, wow, this is a fucking joke. Like, something has to happen. I watch him on the side camera. He goes up the side, cuts across our front yard, and then he goes down the other side of the house. And I lose vision of him, right? But he comes out a couple minutes later, filled up water bottles and shit. I'm like, okay, he must have just been filling up his water bottles again, but I'm over it. I don't want him on my yard anymore, right? Which is a fair call, especially if he's wanted for whatever charges he's wanted for. And so I call the council straight away. I go, mate, what are you doing? What's the deal? And he starts trying to give me this sob story. He's like, oh yeah, you know how it is with the police. I'm sure they've been filling you in. I'm like, mate, the only things I hear is when I call you guys. I don't hear, no one's keeping me up to date or anything. I don't know a plan. I don't know anything. He goes, oh, okay, yeah, nah, well, there's not much I can do. Like the officer that's dealing with the issue he's been working split shifts to what I'm working at the moment, so it's been hard to contact him and things like that. And he just started all these excuses, and I just fucking lost it. I go, mate, that's a joke. I go, as far as I'm concerned, the Queensland Police works as a unit, if I'm not incorrect. I'm like, whether or not that officer is working or whether he's not working, one of his colleagues can go out and get this bloke and put him in a cell until this bloke clocks on at 7 o'clock tonight or whatever. I'm like, is that not a fair assumption? He's like, oh yeah, I suppose there probably is things we can be doing and things like that. I'm like, fucking oath there is. Like, I started to get a little bit angry. And anyway, he goes, oh, look, at this stage, there's nothing I can do. He's like, the only thing you can do again is call the police. And he's like, and just give them your reference number, give them the officer's name, give them the unit that's looking after it, and then they'll realize that like it's a serious matter that needs to be accelerated. You know what I mean? And he goes, okay, so you've got all that? And I go, no. He goes, oh yeah, I've given you all that, haven't I? I'm like, no. I go, I got the officer's name from when I met him on our front yard. So that's sweet. I'm like, you haven't given me a reference number or a unit or any of this shit. So he rattles it off and then he goes, oh, and the unit you need to refer to is the violent persons unit. And I'm like, sick. Like, again, in my head, light bulb moment. If somebody is wanted by the violent persons unit, I would assume it's a pretty serious charge. I don't work for the police. I'm not sure. They could put people in the violent persons unit that have convicted traffic violations. I don't know. I might be in the vicious, violent persons unit for rolling a truck, drink driving. Who knows? But I go, okay, sweet. So I call the cops. They start trying to give me the roundabout answer as well. They're like, oh, not much we can do. I go, mate, something needs to happen. I go, I don't care who you need to call or whatever. Like, they need to be gone. It's been going on for 3 months now. Nobody's doing anything. My wife, my kids won't go out in the yard without me. It's a fucking joke. Something has to be done. So again, I lost it at them a little bit and they go, oh, we're going to try and get a car out there soon. And I'm like, I've heard that before. Last time you guys told me that, a car came like 10 hours later and they were gone again. Anyway, sure enough, I get home from work maybe 2 hours later, right? Nikita and me are chilling inside. We've got the kids inside and all of a sudden a cop car pulls up and I'm like, here we go. Something's happening here. And they proceed to go down to the bush. They're down there for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, right? And then bingo, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. He's come up. They've cut through our yard again, and this bloke's in handcuffs getting smashed into the back of a cop car. And I'm like, oh, thank God. It is done. It is over. It is over. The homeless situation is finished. This bloke's gone to jail. He's probably going to be released on bail in the next like day or two and come back and stab me. But for the meantime, he's gone. And I know we should be celebrating. That sounds like a good moment, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? But the bad news is they seem to have only done half their job. So once I finish recording the podcast today, I'm going to go call them and go, hey guys, I understand you guys feel like you've done your job, but if you remember rightly, I've been calling up and complaining about 2 homeless people behind my bush. And as far as I'm concerned, there's still one of them that's still living down there and still cutting across my yard, getting caught on my cameras. So when are we going to come and finish the job? You know what I mean? So yeah, for now, one of them's gone. One of them is in lockup as far as I know, the dangerous one. So now we're just got to deal with the angry girlfriend who's probably seeking vengeance for her boyfriend's demise. So she might even sprint in here right now and put a knife in the side of my head. I don't know. She won't. I've locked all the doors. I've secured the perimeters. We're all good. And my dog will bark. If my dog barks, I'll freak out. So listen to the cue of the dog bark. But anyway, that's enough of me ranting. Let's Rick in. What the fuck is Rick in? I've legit had a problem with speaking lately. Anyway, let's rip in to my weekend comedy. First one was Friday night down at Matic Brewing. Always a sick gig, you know what I mean? And rock up. The room runner goes, oh, we've got a packed room tonight. Should be a sick show. And I'm like, oh, you beauty. I go, tell you what I'm going to do. No, this is how this actually played out, right? I sat there with the other comedians and the room runner. We're all bantering, having fun. And I look at the room runner. I'm like, I want to do something so gay, but I don't want you guys to rip on me. He's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to go get my tripod out of my car and record my set because it's a full room and I usually do pretty well here. He's like, that is super gay, but go do it. And I'm like, sure. So I sprint down to my car, I get my tripod, come back up, set it all up in the corner of the room like a fucking loser. And I'm like, this is going to be sick. I'm going to get some good footage. I'm going to clip it up. I'm going to post all my jokes so I can put them to bed. And the MC gets up, crushes, absolute killer. And the crowd is eating it up. I'm like, oh, yes, here we fucking go. This is going to be sick. I jump up, do my first joke. It lands, okay? It does okay. And I'm like, fuck, this joke has been hitting hard lately. Like, why? I'll play it off as if it's done super well. I've gone, oh, yeah, you guys are fucking, you're going to be into this shit. And oh, fuck. Now, I voice messaged Adrian and Ash on my drive down. I go, I've got a new joke that I'm trying tonight, and I'm pretty stoked with it. I think it's going to go well. I tried it last week, and it went well in a relatively quiet room, so I'm confident. I'm going into this guns blazing. So I don't know why the fuck I did this. Super rookie move, but I've put that new joke as my second joke in, right? Now, I've just finished my first joke, which it's landed, but not quite to the extent I wanted. So now I'm going into this new joke, probably not as confident as I should have, right? And I get through the joke, couple of giggles throughout, right? Nothing crazy, but at least it's shown me that there's some legs there that I can mold and make this something potentially. But the kicker was I got to the punchline to fucking silence. So picture this, right? I'm going to count how long oh, fuck. I'm going to count how long I waited for a laugh for, okay? So picture this. So I've just gone blah, 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 blah. Punchline. Anyway, that didn't quite land as much as I wanted it to. But anyway, what else? Let's go back to some old classics. Fuck me. I don't think, and I'm confident in saying this, I don't think I've ever, from my very first comedy set, I'm not sure if I've ever had a joke flop that hard. Like, at least you usually get like a courtesy chuckle, like a little or something, or just like a smile from the crowd. I got fucking nothing, and it was so heartbreaking. I was like, what is going on right now? But I pushed through the rest of my set, and God, it was a struggle to try and win them back. Like, I think by the time I got to like my second last joke, they were somewhat back on board, and I was like, fuck. I just went and packed up my camera, got out of there, texted the room runner. I'm like, sorry about that. Anyway, here's the cracker. So hopefully nobody went down there to see me personally, but you guys will remember I had Home of the Arts on Saturday night. I get a message Saturday morning from the room runner, same room runner, and he goes, hey, mate, any chance I can pull you off tonight's gig to put you on a like next week or the week after because I've accidentally double booked. And he gave me the spiel. He's like, like fucking, you're usually the cruisiest or whatever to move around. He's like, if it's a big deal though and you got people coming, just let me know and I'll try and move someone else. And I'm like, I just replied, I go, this is about last night, isn't it? And he just replied, he's like, nah, fucking, he's like, you did well, loved all your jokes, loved the new one. He's like, it was just the crowd. I'm like, no, it wasn't. The MC was annihilating. It was not the crowd. But anyway, so I got pulled off Home of the Arts. Future date for that one is what it is. And yeah, so the next one I did was Distillery Road Market last night on Sunday. It was pretty nuts. So crowd came out for it. It was sick. We had the mezzanine not quite packed out this time, but like it was a scattering around the mezzanine, which was sick that we got to play up to that again. But the big one, like this was an absolutely fucking surreal moment for me. And I still to this moment do not know how it happened. Okay. So I've spoken about this bloke numerous times on the podcast. All right. I spoke about his book a couple of months ago and I've reached out to him at least twice in the past since I started this podcast. Right. He's one of my absolute dream guests. So Muay Thai legend, John Wayne Parr, look him up. He's a huge name in combat sports. He's not only a Muay Thai legend, he was an Australian boxing champion. He's been on the Joe Rogan Experience twice. And his resume is nuts, okay? And he's just an absolute legend of a bloke at the end of the day. And he's obviously retired now from fighting. And the last couple of months I've noticed he's been putting up on his Instagram stories just little jokes and stuff that he's been writing. And even reels and stuff. He'll throw up a video of him talking into his camera and it's just like a dad joke or something. And I'm like, fuck, like it's pretty funny. Anyway, he put a story up last week, and to be honest, I don't remember what it was, okay? But he put a story up that somewhat insinuated like wanting to try comedy, if that makes sense. Like he's like, oh, like it might have even been something along the lines of like, now that fighting's done, I want to try my hand at something else. And then he like finished it with a little joke or something. So I was like, fuck it. Why not shoot my shot again? He knows I'm in his DMs nonstop, hitting him up to come on podcasts. And I just sent him a message. I go, hey mate, not sure if you'd be keen, but I'm running a comedy show this Sunday. Do you want to come and do 5 minutes? And straight, like instant reply. He goes, oh fuck, I would absolutely kill to do that. He goes, where are you from? And before I could even reply to that one, he replied again. He goes, just stalked your Instagram. You're from Brisbane. Let's fucking do this. And I'm like, holy shit. And then I proceeded. We messaged. I'm not even lying. I've messaged him, which in my mind is mind-blowing. I've messaged John Wayne Parr more in the last week than I've messaged anyone in a long time. Like, I reckon, not even joking, we probably have 100 messages back and forth to each other, which, again, is mind-blowing to me. Not only that this bloke has replied to me, but that we're having a conversation about comedy. It was absolutely nuts. Anyway, he kept saying, he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then he'd make a joke. And I'm like, look, I don't know if you're being serious. I think this is a piss take. I think you're bored in between like training sessions or something and you're just having fun with me. And he's like, no, I'm 100% serious. And I'm like, okay. He goes, tell you what, you make up a poster with my name on it. I'll put it on my social media and then that'll show that I'm actually keen and I'm coming. And I'm like, okay, let's fucking do it. So I smashed out a poster, sent it to him, and he's gone, lock me in. I'm there. Send me the details. I sent him the details. And now I'm getting ready to put a post up in a story later that day, right? And before I could even do that, like I've sent him the poster and then I get a notification no more than 5 minutes later. And he's posted it and he goes, doing my first comedy show this Sunday, blah, blah, blah. And I've gone, fuck, now it's on my gig. So now I've got to jump on the front foot. I've quickly thrown a story up, thrown the post up. And yeah, it went gangbusters. Like so many people reached out, so many people were keen and stuff. I put it in the community groups, like Blokes Advice, all that. And everyone just fucking showed up for this legend. It was sick. It was sick to see so many of his supporters there just to watch him have a crack at it. And he got up there and he did his first 5 minutes of comedy. Like it was nuts. So full credit to the bloke. He actually put a Instagram reel up on Saturday, and probably the most vulnerable we've seen him in a long time, I'd say. But he's actually been, the last 10 years or so, I think he said, he's been suffering with some crazy tics and things like that. And the video he put up is heartbreaking. And he basically said it's due to like his fighting career, that he's sort of developed these tics and things like that he can't help. And he just sort of has these, I don't know if you'd call them like spasms or whatever, but he just can't bring himself out of it. And he sort of messaged me on the day and he's like, I don't know if I can do it. Like I've been ticking all night, ticking all day. He's like, I might have to pull out. And I'm like, mate, whatever you need to do, like you just fucking look after yourself. I'm like, I just saw your post. It's literally fine if I have to jump up at the start of the show and just go, look, he's not coming. If you guys have seen his social media, I'm sure you guys will understand why. And I could almost guarantee 99% of the crowd would have been fine with it. You know what I mean? The lineup was still stacked. We were still going to have a sick night and people would be understandable for that, what was going down. But yeah, he got there and fucking did not have one tick on stage. He loved it up there. He fucking thrived for it. And he got off stage straight away and he goes, fuck, I have not had that feeling since I was fighting. He's like, I'm hooked. I'm addicted. So I genuinely hope we start seeing him around the comedy scene a bit more. Just crushing it and getting tighter. And he got off stage and it was somewhat cool to see, like, because leading up to it, he was messaging me. He's like, I'm so confident for this. I'm going to crush. He's like, and he was just sending funny shit. He's like, can you just double check with the venue that they've had someone get on the roof recently and bolt the ceiling down because I'm about to blow the roof off. And I'm like, that is so confident. I'm like, I fucking love your confidence, but it's a different game. And I was trying, like I wasn't trying to be mean about it or anything. I was just trying to like keep him composed, like not go into it thinking he's going to crush and then be heartbroken. But full credit to him. And I said it once I jumped back up because I didn't want to give him too much of a pump up when I brought him on stage. So I basically just brought him up casually. And then I was going to fucking give him his roses, give him his flowers once he'd got on stage and did what he did. So once he was done, I jumped up there. I go, fucking, for anyone here tonight that anyone here tonight that does not know who that legend is, he has fucking done everything he can possibly do in the combat sports game. And for him to come and like put it all on the line tonight just to do 5 minutes of comedy for the first time, full credit to the bloke. Must have been completely nerve-wracking, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it was pretty sick. And then, of course, the onslaught of just people getting up and wanting photos with him and things like that. And, again, full credit to the bloke. He did not turn down one photo. He did not turn down one person who wanted to come up and just have 2 minutes of his time. And obviously, like he was saying earlier that day, he was of the mindset that he didn't even want to come to the show. And for him to then go and do all that to his fans, it was another thing. So he was taking all these photos, and look, at the end of the day, I'm a genuine fan, and I fucking wanted a photo with him more than anything. But I was like, nah, he was trying to leave the venue, and he just kept getting stopped and stopped. And I went up. I think it was his niece that came with him. I could be wrong. Sorry if I am wrong. But I sort of had a chat to her. She was off to the side, and I go, does he need a hand to get out of here? Because I'm more than happy to just say, all right, guys, we've got, like, his fucking time's up. Like, he's got to go, things like that. Like, that's sort of my job at the end of the day as a room runner, if I get big names in there to help them get in and out of the venue safely. And she goes, no, he goes, like, we sort of have a little code that if he gets over it, then I sort of step in and we'll get him away. She's like, look, if you look over here in a couple of minutes and we're still getting, like, rushed, she's like, maybe come and give us a hand. And I'm like, sweet. So I sort of stayed 10, 20 meters away, and I'm just sort of watching from afar. And they eventually sort of did the last handshakes, and they ducked away. So it was pretty sick. And like still like messaged him as if we were mates like this morning, which is, again, it's unreal. It's a surreal moment. But yeah, hats off to him for coming and giving it a crack for the first time. Brian Freeman and Anissa Nandala were on the lineup as well and absolutely fucking destroyed. Both those people are fucking legends, and yeah, nuts. I don't know what else I can fucking say about that, but let's rip into what do we got? Turns out it can get worse, and holy shit, we're already at like 47 minutes. So let me wheel my computer around here. One moment. Do you know what I actually haven't checked this week, guys? That the Bluetooth is connected, and Adrian has played with the Rodecaster again. So that is the incorrect button. Where's my Bluetooth gone? Oh, hiccup in the mic. That's always good. All right, it says the Rodecaster is connected. So there's only one thing we can do, ladies and gentlemen, and we can try it. So I figured since it was a John Wayne Parr made his debut and things like that, we should have a couple of fighting. Turns out it can get worse. So let's start with this one. So I'll press play now.
Samantha is going to try for her first time to actually knock me out using just the sound.
Wow, okay. So this young girl is going to try and knock out her sensei, who's in a generic sort of karate outfit, I would describe it as. But I have not seen this before. I've not seen someone get knocked out just by sound. So let's see what happens.
The energy projection.
Holy shit, she did it. She basically just put her hands out and made a little like dog barking noise, and he's collapsed to the ground. So let's see what happens next.
Flip him. Sit him up. Get behind me, for me. Thank you.
Okay. So this bloke seems genuinely dead, and I do not, like, this could be a genuine, maybe if, I should try and get John Wayne Parr on the podcast and we could watch this together and I could just ask him, like, have you seen this be performed before? Okay, so for audio listeners, she's just slapping the side of his neck as hard as she can.
You should be able to see that the pupils are actually dilated as a result of the initial push, the energy push.
So his pupils are dilated because of the energy push. So now he's back to consciousness, everyone. So we can all take a breath, okay? She hasn't killed him, and he's slowly getting up. He's on all fours.
And that's a demonstration of a touchless knockout. Samantha.
Fucking hell. The touchless knockout. Wait, episode title? I don't know. The touchless knockout. But here's this bad boy. This is a good one, okay? So this one, press play. We got some backyard biffs happening here.
Hi, my name is Cherry Bomb, and I fight for all the single moms out there that don't get the respect they deserve.
Wow, okay, so Cherry Bomb, fighting for all the single mums out there. I can fucking respect that. Who's she versing?
Sarah, my name's Ivy, and I'm ready for bed.
Okay.
Okay, I did not understand a word she said, and she also said, I'm ready for bed. Probably not the best intro into a fight. Like if John Jones walked into the ring and he's like, I'm ready for bed, I would go, holy fuck, John Jones is about to get knocked the fuck out. Let's see what these girls can do.
MMA fight. We went over the rules. Do you have any questions? Touch gloves if you'd like.
Also, I just want to tell the audio listeners, Cherry Bomb is wearing a Rugrats shirt, which for a single mum with an undercut, Rugrats shirt is it's an interesting choice. Oh. Holy fuck, that that was actually an impressive punch. I'm not gonna lie, that was a good punch.
Hands up! Hands up! All day.
Holy fuck. Okay. It is clear now that Cherry Bomb, she doesn't exactly know how to fight, but she's got that one punch knockout power, you know what I mean?
Tucker! Got a punch.
Jesus, they're on the floor, they're grappling. Oh, hair pull. Back on their feet. Oh, Cherry Bomb's mouth guard just got... Holy fuck. This is good. Dana needs to ditch slap fighting and get into this shit. This is actually entertaining. She's swinging. She's down. Oh, ground and pound. Here we go. Cherry Bomb's about to get the win. Referee steps in. Yeah.
Your winner, referee stoppage.
Let's fucking go, Cherry Bomb. Who thinks we should get Cherry Bomb on the podcast? Fucking Dana White. This is a message to you. Get Cherry Bomb in the UFC. I have not seen that type of girl fighting since Ronda Rousey. That is the new face of girls MMA. I'm telling you now. Now, it wouldn't be the turns out it can get worse segment without a bloke just trying to fucking have a crack online. So what's this bloke got to say? He's an elderly gentleman with some very big glasses, just to paint a picture. So let's see what he's got to say.
I've been hearing all this talk about me being a simp. Yeah, I'm a simp. I'm a simply slamming your girl with this big old horse meat ding-dong. And that's on God, baby girl.
Holy fuck, that is an aggressive statement, and that is on God, baby girl. So whose grandpa is that? That has to be somebody's grandpa. So shout out to that bloke. Where are we? Where's my fucking... All right, let's get this back. That's been turns out it can get worse. So let's get on to... Oh, okay. So movies, music, sport. I just had one song I got to plug this week. I've been listening to it nonstop, but it's been on TikTok for months and months, but it's finally on Spotify. So that's Indigo by Sam Barber and Avery Anna. So go check that out. Cracking country song. We'll quickly touch on the UFC results for UFC 311. So based on our UFC breakdown we got 8 from 12. 8 from 12 of my picks, which vastly better than my original breakdown. So I don't know, a couple of upsets in there, which as I was watching it, I'm like, fuck, I should have dabbled on some dogs. I should have fucking dabbled on some dogs. But possibly another episode title, dabbled on some dogs. But if you did go, because my tip was Yeri and Jamal Hill not to go the distance. So that was a win. And I also picked Yeri, but that wasn't like a guaranteed tip. So if you did go Yeri, that was another win in your book. So that was actually a sick fight. We'll touch on it in a sec. Let's start with the main event. That's what everyone wants to hear. But there was a late change up. Sarukian basically came down with an injury or whatever, said he couldn't fight. So there was a mix-up like day before where Moicano got the call up. And I didn't even pick Moicano when he was up against Dariel. What the fuck? Why am I fucking up his name? But anyway, there was not a chance I was going to tip Moicano in that main event anyway. Islam destroyed him with a round 1 submission, which light work for Islam. And I feel like he had a bit of a chip on his shoulder. He wanted Dana White to say that he's the pound for pound number 1 fighter. And Dana did in the post-fight press conference. Holy fuck, I'm mumbling my words. So yeah, I don't think... Like, it's hard, you know what I mean? Like, John Jones will always be seen as the top fighter, but now there's literally nothing. Like, Islam has done it all, and he's calling any and all contenders. Like, he's telling people from all different weight classes to come and fight him. So I don't know who's going to stop him. I genuinely don't know, but we'll see what's up for Islam coming soon. Marab got it done, so I picked that one wrong. But again, full credit to Marab. Like I said on the breakdown, he's a student of Matt Serra and Ray Longo, and the relationship that him and Aljo have together, it's just so cool that they've pumped each other up all through their title reigns, and it was just cool to see that as well behind the scenes. So hats off to Marab. I wasn't angry that he got a win. So yeah, I don't know. Now that he's beaten Umar again, who's going to beat that guy? He's this like grappling sort of fight style. It seems to be the thing at the moment. So I can't see it going away anytime soon. Yeri and Jamal Hill, absolute fucking banger of a fight. It was a perfect showcase of what a light heavyweight fight should be. They both wanted the win. Yeri got I think it was round 3 knockout. But yeah, full credit to both of them. But it was pretty cool, the lead up as well. Yeri he shaved his head in solidarity with one of his fans that has cancer, and it was another cool moment for Dana as well at the pre-fight press conference. It all came out that Yeri shaved his head for this lady, and then it came out that he donated $500,000 to her. And Dana, just on the spot in the press conference, goes, "Oh, how much did you donate?" And Yeri's like, "Oh, $500,000." And Dana goes, "All right, we're going to match it." So straight out of Dana's pocket, $500,000 to this lady, or it might have even been a foundation that's sort of supporting her. I don't know the ins and outs, but yeah, hats off to him. Ritter was another one of my picks. He was an underdog, but he closed out to favourite right before the fight. So hopefully you got on him back when I picked him, but he got a round 1 submission. Now, that's about it. Premature premises, I really need to fucking get back into bringing this back. I know it's died off the last month or so, or even longer than that actually, but I need to get back into it, especially with me writing all this shit at the moment. I need to flush it out live on air. So that'll be back next week. I'm going to have one for sure. Motivational clip of the week. This one was good. Needed this one this week. I like bringing the ones that I need onto the podcast, and hopefully you guys can relate. So this one's from the man Steve Harvey.
You wake up in the morning, you start having negative thoughts. Man, this ain't my day. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm tripping, I just don't feel myself. Every time you feel, in the middle of the day, if you feel yourself doing that, stop, just stop for a second. And start going over in your mind everything you have to be grateful for. Not everything you want, everything you already have, because what you have is substantial. You just haven't gone over the list and taken inventory in a long time. But the fact that you can walk, that's a blessing. The fact that you woke up, that's another blessing. The fact that you can see, think, reason, that's another blessing. The fact that you can go somewhere and get yourself something to eat, that's another blessing. The fact that you can go and turn the key and call someplace home, that's another blessing. The ability to dream is a blessing. The fact that you have an opportunity to get it right is another blessing. The fact that you're beautiful, that's another blessing. The fact that you have any measure of health, that's another blessing. And I'm just talking to you, I don't even know you. I could give you 50 things you ought to be grateful for right now. I don't even know you.
So yeah, that one was good for me this week. Like I said, bit of a couple of down moments this week, and it was good to see that one and just reflect on like all the good shit. Like, yeah, okay, you're not fucking exactly where you want to be, but holy fuck, you're so much further than you were a little while ago. So, yeah, hopefully that rung true to a couple of you guys. There's also like on the back of that one, there's a J. Cole song I always listen to when I'm like feeling down and stuff and like feeling like I haven't got far enough, and everyone's going to know it. I'm not breaking any songs to you guys, but it's called Love Yours by J. Cole, and it's basically just him rapping for like 4 minutes or something about reasons why you should love your own life and stuff like that. And it's just a cool little like reflection song, I reckon. So throw that on right now. Once this podcast is done, go listen to that one and just be like, fuck yeah, I'm actually so lucky at the moment. So gigs for this week, 21st, Tuesday the 21st, I'll be up on the sunny coast at Soul Bar at Maroochydore. And then Thursday the 23rd, I'll be at a Prey Surf down at Burleigh. So if you can make it to any of those shows, come say g'day. This was the first time in a long time, and I've probably only done this like less than 3 or 4 times. But last night after the Distillery Rd gig, I didn't even touch on this actually. I MC'd, and it wasn't my best MC like level, but like I did okay, I suppose. And I sort of did okay enough where as I was closing out the night, I go, okay, if anyone in the crowd listens to any podcasts, I do a stupid little podcast called the CantGetAnyWorsePodcast, where I pretty much just talk about my dick and depression for an hour. And that got like a bigger laugh than I was expecting. I'm like, oh, okay, this could be how I close out my sets from now on. Had one bloke at the gig come up to me with his phone on Spotify. So shout out to you if you're listening to this. He goes, is this you? And just fucking click follow in front of me. I'm like, fuck that. Like, that was a sick feeling. If last night couldn't get any better, that was a perfect way to cap it off. And then once I got home, John Wayne Parr actually shared a reel and tagged me in it. And I had like another probably 2 or 3 people from the gig just follow me and reach out, just saying shit like, oh, you were funny as tonight. Going to give the potty a run this week while I'm at work. So shout out to you guys as well. If you're fucking listening to this from Distillery Rd this week, thank you for coming to the show and thank you for supporting all this stupid shit that I'm chasing. So thank you very much. If you can't come to any of those shows and you just want to chat to me in general, send me a submission via DM, CantGetAnyWorsePodcast on Instagram, or flick me an email at cantgetanyworsepod@gmail.com. And again, appreciate all the love and support lately. And yeah, we're flying with the podcast at the moment. I'm stoked with where it's heading. A couple extra downloads a week, which is fucking insane to see those numbers finally budging a bit. We plateaued for probably a solid 6 months there. So it's good that we're back on that trajectory again. Thanks again. If I don't talk to you before next week's episode, I will see you later.
Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. It's all